Make of a nation what you will. Make of the past what you can. The word land is embedded within the name of this island we live on. The songs we sing with friends, the history we feel and recall, the poems we read in school and in old age are all heavy with imagery of the earth beneath us, the land that is Ireland. To love this place is to cherish and protect it. It means remembering our past and envisioning the brightest possible future for all.
There was a time when Ireland was almost entirely covered in trees. They are a potent symbol of life itself, their roots burrowing deep into the earth below, their branches reaching high above, connecting us all to the place we call home. Today, only 1% of the island of Ireland is covered with our native woodland. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because trees have the ability to store carbon, which is a very effective way to combat climate change, the single biggest threat to our very existence on this planet.
Well, climate change is a complex problem, and it is not always that easy to explain because there's a lot of science and a lot of research gone into this. But in essence, we know that since the mid-1800s, human activity, industrial activity, has produced a significant amount of emissions that have gradually caused our planet to heat up. And it's not that the weather is changing, it's just that climate is becoming much more extreme because of it. The greenhouse effect is a result of those chemicals, those materials that are emitted because of industrial activity, agricultural activity, and just transport activity. And also the fact that there are so many humans on the Earth. These gases such as methane, ozone, water vapor, and of course carbon dioxide, which we hear an awful lot about, are filling the atmosphere and retaining heat closer to the surface, and the weather patterns are changing as a result.
This biodiversity is like basically what's happening in an environment, and in relation to bees, there's about, like in Ireland, we have about 98 species of bee, and the honeybee is only one of them, and they basically pollinate about 78% of the plants growing in Ireland.
Biodiversity is the flora, fauna, and the habitats in which they live. So by flora, we mean the trees, the flowering plants, the fungi, lichens, mosses, liverworts. By fauna we mean the birds and animals, but also the smaller species, the amphibians, the fish, down to the invertebrates. Our bees and butterflies are well known, but all the creepy crawlies, the millipedes and centipedes, they're all part of biodiversity. And 1/3 of the species in the world are under threat of extinction, and that is why we are so concerned about biodiversity now.
Individually, if we kind of apply pressure to certain companies, apply pressure in how they do it, I suppose firstly to try and get them to reduce waste, to reduce emissions, but then if they can't reduce any further, that they could maybe offset emissions. So getting your companies and local businesses to support local tree planting projects. So that's one. Maybe getting individuals to, I suppose, one of the key points is applying pressure to politicians and to policymakers. So if they make the right decisions and connect, trees where they're planted in the ground is owned by landowners. So they have to be seen to be supporting landowners, because that's key, I think, in this whole drive. Yeah, well, I suppose there's a lot of us work indoors and might have stressful jobs that we have to do in day to day. So having forests and tree areas to be able to get out into and explore and just relax in and get away from it all, I think, you know, there's proven evidence there that, you know, people, they get a lot less stressed and a lot more relaxed when they get into forests. So that's probably key in relation to, you know, why we need forests and why we need to get out into them, you know.
So Bugs, Bees and Native Trees is an all-island initiative that is aiming to encourage young people in particular to take environmental action by planting trees. We aim to have 100,000 trees planted by the end of the year, and it's going to have the effect of not only increasing our native tree cover, but also increasing biodiversity and helping to reduce the onset of climate change.
What gives me hope is the experiences that we've had, particularly with younger people in the schools, and just to see how natural it was when people got involved, looking at the trees, digging the holes in the ground, getting their hands dirty. And they loved it. And that gives me hope. Why? Because it's such a natural thing, and if people can relate to tree planting and understand what all that goes with it, I think we're going to build a whole new community of people who are going to be much more aware of the environment.
What makes me hopeful now is I sense a change of attitude in Irish people, understanding nature, being more interested in nature, and young people are better educated and interested in this, so I think they can influence their parents.
This is all about the next generation and the next 2 generations, that if climate change continues on its inexorable course, we're going to be in trouble. So we would encourage, rather than just protest is important sometimes, but what we need is some action. So we need everybody to take a certain amount of personal responsibility.
You know, I think a lot of people might ask, oh, why are you not just planting a load of trees on a big patch of land? But it's not just about the trees, it's about bringing people along with you. And, you know, we're not just planting trees, we're planting ideas, and we're trying to get people to take individual responsibility for what is happening to our planet.
Every day is an opportunity to make of this nation what we will, to take action, to educate ourselves, to show each other our commitment to caring for our home. Right now, we are writing the history that future generations will read about. I say let's make it a hopeful and healing one. Our past has already been written. But what will our future hold? Why not make it something glorious? Something to inspire more music and stories and long walks with your best friend. Let's cherish, protect and celebrate our home a little more every day. Let's begin now.